Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Deferrals with myself, Matt Higgins, and my co-host, Matt Johnson. How you doing today, Matt?
I'm doing great. We're closer to baseball season, so that's all I could ask for.
And baseball actually begins next week. We got the Tokyo series between the Chicago Cubs and Los Angeles Dodgers. Will you be getting up at the crack of dawn to watch?
I wake up at 5 a.m. every day, so yeah, it's just going to be a normal morning for me.
Good Lord, do you really?
I do.
Wow. I wake up like 5 hours later after you. Anyway, we got a big show in store for you today. We're going to be talking about the Yankees injuries, latest on Garrett, Luis Seal, Giancarlo, Stanton, more pitching injuries to the Baltimore Orioles and the Seattle Mariners. On top of that, we're going to be talking about the best lineups in baseball. MLB.com came out with their top 10 list today. We're also going to be talking about big Mets injury, dealing with starting catcher Francisco Alvarez. And we're also going to get into some NFL free agency talk with our great MJ, our top NFL analyst over here at sportsdot.com. And to end it all, we will make fools of ourselves once again with the Immaculate Grid.
We promised to do better, but we said that last week, and you know how that went.
Yeah, it was brutal. Anyway, first topic of debate here. Yankees. Garrett now is out for the season with Tommy John surgery. That's a big blow. He was their number one ace in their rotation. There's no timetable when he will be back, but most likely he will miss some of next season. He will also be 35 next year as well, coming back from Tommy John surgery. This is also the second spring training in a row that he has dealt with an injury. Last year he had right elbow inflammation and also edema, which is swelling caused by too much fluid trapped in the body's tissue. I had to look that up on WebMD. So, Matt, who did the Yankees turn to?
Yeah, and this is because, again, people love to speculate. People like to get into, maybe they can go out, see if they can land Dylan Cease. Yeah, that would be lovely. Padres not moving them. Hey, maybe they could pull off a reunion and bring Michael King back to the Bronx. Same story. Padres aren't moving them. Now, obviously, they'll start with an internal options. Will Warren's the guy right now, but to me, there are two names that I kind of highlighted earlier this week when I wrote that situation. And fortunately, this is a situation where, guess what? Both arms are available. First, a reunion, call up the Arizona Diamondbacks, see about what you can work out financially to get Jordan Montgomery. He's had success at Yankee Stadium. He's a proven commodity. Obviously, he was awful last season, one of the worst pitchers in baseball. He's making $20 million this year. He's someone that Diamondbacks want to move on from. They don't have a spot in the rotation for him. So I think that's probably the most realistic option. Another, and this is, again, we're talking about familiar trade partners, guys that the Yankees know well. And this St. Louis Cardinals, another team that, and no, this isn't going to be a Nolan Arenado trade situation. It's been reported repeatedly, even after the Giancarlo Stanton injury, that the Yankees are not interested in Arenado. But instead, Eric Fetty.
Oh,
St. Louis is shopping him. That's been talked about that he might be available because they've got some young guys they want to give a shot to. So you bring him in. You've got a nice back end starter, righty. Keeps the ball on the ground. I think that could be another option for him. Where is he going to be great? No. Is he going to be better than Will Warren or whatever else the Yankees have in the farm system? Probably. And he's going to be cheap to acquire. And that's the same thing with Montgomery. It's just finding someone who can give you innings, deliver some consistency, and who's not going to cost you your entire farm system, which, by the way, when people talk about Cease and, maybe getting Michael King back, the Yankees farm system has been really depleted in the past year and a half. So that's not really an option for him. So, yeah, I think Montgomery Fetty is going to have to be an option for the Yankees at this point.
Yeah, I agree. Especially about the Yankees farm system, because obviously Jason Dominguez, who is number one on MLB.com for the Yankees prospects, they're not trading him. Number two prospect they have, George Lombard Jr. Would they dangle him in a trade to try to get like a Dylan Cease, maybe even a Sandy Alcantara, who's coming back from his own surgery with the Miami Marlins? They have Spencer Jones, but he strikes out a ton. He had a 40% strikeout rate last year, struck out 200 times, which is insane. Roderick Arias really hasn't lived up to the hype after he came over. He's been having swing and miss issues as well. So yeah, it's interesting. They might not have the prospects to deal to trade for a top frontline starter to put in front of Max Fried now. There's two other free agents that are out there right now that they can look into. There's Kyle Gibson, who pitched for St. Louis last year, and Lance Lynn, who pitched for St. Louis as well. With Gibson and Lynn, it's pushing the middle of May. So if you do sign them, they probably won't be ready until end of April at most.
Yeah.
So you're going to have like a guy like, Will Warren filling in, maybe Carlos Carrasco, who's about to turn 38. He made 21 starts for the Cleveland Guardians last year, had a 5.64 ERA, but he did take up 103 and 2/3 innings. So like you said, that's what you need. On top of that, what's going to be really interesting is with Luis Heel down and most likely not returning until around like June with the lat strain, that's going to slide Marcus Stroman back into the rotation. And for those of you who don't know, Marcus Stroman has a vesting option for 2026, which is $18 million if he pitches 140 innings this year. So they're going to have to force Stroman's going to have to be back in rotation, even though he was not guaranteed a spot coming into 2025, and he was very unhappy about that. And now, since he's most likely going to pitch those 140 innings, the Yankees are now going to be on the hook for $18 million of Stroman next year, which will most likely be untradeable.
Yeah, and you mentioned it with Stroman's contract. The Yankees tried to trade him this winter. They tried. They called everyone. And the universal response was, we do not want that contract. And that was with the chance of, hey, maybe he doesn't hit that innings count. He doesn't activate that threshold. He's hitting it now. So, yeah, Yankees are kind of stuck with that contract. I mean, hey, it's great. They have a little more pitching depth because of him now. Someone step in. But he was bad last year. He seems to be getting worse. And, yeah, they're between a rock and a hard place, and they're probably going to hit both.
Yeah. And it gets worse on the lineup side because on top of losing Juan Soto to crosstown rival New York Mets, now you're down your designated hitter in Giancarlo Stanton. It's not known when he will be back. He has pretty much tennis elbow in both elbows. He literally can't swing a bat, and he's getting those platelet-rich injections into his elbows, hopefully, to build it back up. Is there anybody that can fill in for Stan and his 27 home runs last season?
I don't think so. And the other issue you have with this injury is it seems like the best case scenario right now is he returns this summer. But there's a chance, Ken Rosenthal's talked about it, others have talked about it. He might be out all year.
Yeah.
And, we could talk about, who you can get at July, but you're still playing several months without that. You don't have the pitching staff now to support for a weekend lineup. So it's a really tough spot. And again, maybe someone steps up them. I mean, Ben Rice is going to get a shot. But we've also seen this team hasn't been the greatest in terms of player development and, getting guys to the big leagues and then having success. I mean, Anthony Volpe, he's been great defensively, but the bat hasn't been as good as advertised. There's a long list of guys like Everson Pereira who just haven't been what they needed to, and they had to move on. So it's a very concerning place to be because, we can trace back to the discussion we had about the pitching or the hitting. You can try and make a trade, but you don't have the farm system to really pull it off. Again, you're not going to move Dominguez. Spencer Jones, I mean, even a year ago, before the big strikeout issues, he was drawing Joey Gallo comparisons.
Mm-hmm.
And Joey Gallo was fun for a little while, and then it got really bad. And Lombard is maybe the one guy they can move, but if you move him, you don't have anything else left.
Yeah.
And that's just addressing one spot. Maybe you pull off a multi-team trade, or maybe you just, instead of getting one big piece, you get a few smaller pieces to address multiple needs. But no matter what, the Yankees are in a bad spot, and they're not going to be able to address all these needs.
Gut feeling, Yankees in the playoffs, yes or no?
As of right now, I'm going to say no. And the fact they might not make the playoffs with such an old team, with how much they've invested in this roster, buddy. Let's just say Aaron Boone's contract extension did not time out too well.
No, it did not. There, fans will be calling for heads to roll once again with Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone if they do not reach the playoffs or if they fall flat on their face this season.
But at least the facial hair policy is gone.
That's true. That's very true. I guess Don Mattingly didn't need to shave his sideburns for Montgomery Burns and The Simpsons after all.
Ooh, maybe this will be the thing that it's going to be a 100-year curse, and we'll all trace it back to the facial hair policy.
Now, moving on to more injuries. Big pitching injuries on the Baltimore Orioles and Seattle Mariners side. For the Orioles, they're out Grayson Rodriguez with right elbow inflammation. He has been shut down for 10 days after receiving a cortisone shot. And last year, he dealt with shoulder inflammation, and last strain also ended the season in August. On the Mariners side, George Kirby, he is out with shoulder inflammation. He was a 2023 All-Star, and he made an MLB leading 33 starts last year. And two sides of the opposite coin here between the Mariners rotation and the Orioles rotation. Mariners rotation is absolute elite. Even though they lost Kirby, they still have Logan Gilbert, they still have Luis Castillo, they still have Bryce Miller, and they still have Ryan Wu. On the Orioles side, they have Zach Eflin, Charlie Morton, Dean Kramer, and Tomoyuki Sugana, who came over from Japan. To quote Rick Pitino, Jim Palmer is not walking through that door. Mike Messina is not walking through that door. Who has the bigger issue here, Matt?
I have to go with the Mariners, and I know they already have the pitching depth. They have the stronger rotation, but this is a team that really did nothing to improve its lineup this offseason. They didn't spend money. We can get into like the TV deal and whatnot, how that impacted it. But the bottom line is improvements were not made. The lineup with a healthy pitching staff wasn't good enough to make the playoffs. And I know they think, hey, we think we figured things out with Julio. We think he's going to be much better in the first half of the season because historically he's been awful in the first few months, great after that. They think, the changes they made that'll unlock full season. Maybe that happens, but there's still this lineup isn't good enough. And now you're losing starting pitching. It's just I have big concerns. And that's not to let Baltimore off the hook, because Baltimore was another team that, new ownership comes in and says we're going to spend big money. They really didn't. I mean, Charlie Morton's nice. Sagano's maybe. But it's really not a good situation. And again, Baltimore's the same team. Another reason I have concerns with them, because at least Dipoto, I know he's going to be active. He's going to make moves. Baltimore, how'd that Trevor Rogers trade work out?
Yeah.
They don't seem to be making the best decisions. And I have concerns about both teams, but if I had to pick one, because of the Mariners lineup being a black hole, it would be Seattle.
I'm going to actually go the opposite way. I'm going to go with the Orioles. I feel like everybody kind of saw what the Mariners ownership group has been doing and how cheap they've been over the past several seasons. Yeah, Justin Turner calling out the Mariners, being like, hey guys, what the hell are you guys doing? You had the perfect chance of adding somebody like Juan Soto, Pete Alonso, Teoscar Hernandez, Alex Bregman, and they don't make a move. Similarly, that's what the Orioles also did with new ownership. You bring in new ownership. You're getting out from under the Angelos family. You're getting out from under the penny pinching. You're thinking, as an Orioles fan, you got to be thinking, thank God we got this new group in. We're finally going to spend money. We're going to build around Gunnar Henderson. We're going to build around Adley Rutschman. And their big moves over the offseason, they're signing Tyler O'Neill, and they signed Charlie Morton and Sugano after losing all-stars Anthony Santander to the Toronto Blue Jays and your number one ace in Corbin Burns. They did not upgrade this rotation whatsoever. I don't know what they're doing. They have so much prospect talent pool to trade from, but they refuse to make any moves. I just don't get. This team is ready to explode. This team has made the playoffs the last two seasons. They are ready to make that next step. But if But with this new ownership group now, they're looking like they're not willing to spend the money to make that happen. And you already have the new owner and David Rubenstein saying that they need a salary cap in baseball. So he's already complaining about the money, about paying players. And this is not what Orioles fans need or want.
Yeah, and I think we talk about the new ownership, but I think really, and this was reported over the offseason by the pitcher list, which is it's obviously more focused on fantasy and pitcher stuff, but they did report that one big part of Baltimore's problem, Mike Elias isn't a big fan of spending money, even though it's not his money, even though ownership has allegedly told him, hey, spend what you need to do to build this contender. He doesn't seem too interested in that, which, okay, that's one heck of a stance to take when you have, Gunnar Henderson, when you have from the best farm system in baseball. And I think what you said, it kind of ties into how I view the Orioles is, well, I think they'll perform better than Seattle. For what the team should be, it's so much bigger of a disappointment. Yeah. And Baltimore, I mean, look at what the Baltimore Ravens doing. The Ravens are giving that city a team that is a consistent contender, players they can fall in love with, and they always met Derrick Henry last year. They always make moves that show you we're trying to win. Baltimore Orioles, we're going to bring in old man Charlie Morton. We're going to bring in Cigano, and we're just going to see if we can kind of sneak in there. And hey, maybe their odds went up because the Yankees are being decimated by injuries, and the Rays are the Rays. But it's not a great situation, and even if they make the playoffs, I can't give Baltimore the benefit of the doubt.
And right now, the American League East is wide open. The Yankees are sputtering right now with all their injuries. The American League East is wide open for the taking for the Orioles to do something, to make a big splash. And honestly, it's not going to be them. I think it's going to be the Boston Red Sox who's going to take the division by storm when it was there for the Orioles taking. And they decided not to ramp up for this season for some reason and improve their ball club.
Yeah.
But that's on them, not on me. I'm good.
What a waste of an incredible ballpark.
It's gorgeous. I love that ballpark. I actually worked there for a season in 2005.
Well, maybe we know why the Orioles aren't winning.
Yeah, it was all my fault.
Yep.
Yeah. By the way, I was not the one who gave anybody B12 shots in 2005 to Tejada or Rafael Palmeiro. So, not me. Anyway, we move on to the best lineups of baseball. MLB.com came out today with their top 10 lineups in baseball for 2025. Was there anything that caught your eye there, MJ?
Yeah, I mean, and again, I get why they're trying to be optimistic or trying to look at the best case scenario, but I don't agree. Even at number 7, I don't agree with the Yankees ranking. Jazz is the leadoff hitter. He's had good stretches, but he can also get cold and have real issues getting on base. Cody Bellinger, he's been better the past 2 years, but I mean, he was phenomenal a year ago. He was 2 years ago with the Cubs. Then he kind of dipped off a bit. Judge is Judge, obviously. Stanton's now gone. Goldschmidt, maybe, but that seems more name value than production value. Jason, the alien, maybe he lives up to the hype. He was phenomenal in the little stretch he had, with the Yankees lineup. But Volpe, we mentioned before, but the player development, he's been a great defensive guy. The bat hasn't been what they need. Oswaldo Cabrera, obviously the Yankees have made it clear they don't want to make a move for Nolan Arenado. So I don't know. I see the bottom of the lineup. I see some kind of questions that the leadoff hitter just doesn't get off to the hot start, which we've seen before. I don't view the Yankees lineup as it currently stands as one of the 10 best in baseball.
No, I agree. One of my surprises was they had the Atlanta Braves third. Now, on paper, they are absolutely stacked. Obviously, you got Acuna, you got Jerkson Profar, Austin Riley, Matt Olson, Ozuna, Michael Harris, Ozzie Albies, Sean Murphy, and then you got Orlando Arcia at the end. My thing is, you got Acuna who's coming back from another ACL injury. He's going to miss about the first month of the season. You don't know what to expect when he gets back. Is Jurickson Profar going to live up to his All-Star season that he had last year after pretty much essentially being a journeyman outfielder who was cut by the Colorado Rockies at one point in, 2023? You have Austin Riley, who regressed last season. And he's also coming back, and he missed most of the season due to a broken hand. You also have Matt Olson, who went from 54 home runs to 29 home runs, whose OPS went from 993 to 790, and whose OPS plus went from 164 to 118. Which Matt Olson is going to show up there? On top of that, you also have Sean Murphy. He's going to be out for a little bit with cracked ribs. He's going to be out about 6 to 8 weeks. And you don't have Travis d'Arnaud backing up there anymore. So I think the Braves offense might not be, as top tier as some people might think for 2025.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, because, again, you mentioned some of the big questions there. I mean, Albies hasn't always been great. Michael Harris, they're still waiting for that big breakout year to happen.
I mean, he's great defensively.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing. We go back to Volpe. There are some of these lineups where it's a big name, or yes, they are a great baseball player because of their defense, but with the bat, it's kind of lacking. And yeah, that's another example. It's just, Braves, Yankees, I have questions on. I will say, I'm kind of intrigued by the Diamondbacks. I just, again, it requires Corbin Carroll, bouncing back, but Marte, Gurriel, Naylor, I think it's hard to find a bigger Christian Walker fan than myself, but I think in terms of replacing the bat, Naylor accomplishes that. Suarez was decent for them last year. Moreno, he hasn't been as good as they were hoping yet, but again, still young. McCarthy, I don't know. As of right now, I'd take the Diamondbacks lineup over the Yankees.
Yeah, and I think what a lot of people might not remember or might be shocked by is that the Diamondbacks actually scored the most runs in MLB last year. Yeah. They scored 886 runs, and that was with Corbin Carroll having a terrible first half of the season. Obviously, they lost, Christian Walker. They lost his home run production.
They lost Judd.
But you still, like you said, you still got Carroll. You still got Marte. You bring in Naylor. You're still hoping Eugenio Suarez has another 30 home run season in him. You got Josh Naylor now, so it'll be interesting to see what the Diamondbacks can do this year. They could be a surprise team.
Yeah, one more name I'll throw out because again, just scrolling the list, and for those not watching on video, my eyes kind of lit up when I saw Rangers at 10. I mean, I really like what Jock can do. Obviously, he's a split guy, but they got Jake Berger hitting 7th. Heim isn't great, but he's had some decent production, especially 2 years ago. So I don't know. I think the Rangers could potentially have a top 7 lineup, let alone top 10.
Especially if Evan Carter and Wyatt Langford can get going.
Yes.
Especially with Carter, who missed pretty much all of last season with a back injury. And he played fantastic during the Rangers World Series run in 2023. If he can get back healthy, he can produce.
And again, I think one thing with Texas I also like is there 1 through 9, there's depth.
Yeah.
With some other team that's like, oh, great, I feel good about the 1 through 6, but that 7 through 9. But Texas 1 through 9, I feel like there's an at bat I want to watch.
And obviously, you have to talk about my Phillies for a quick second. They came in 4th on the list. Obviously, they do have a great lineup. And it looks like they're going to switch it around now. They're going to move Trey Turner to leadoff. So with that scenario, it'll be Trey Turner on leadoff. You're moving Bryce Harper up 1 spot to second. You'll throw in Bohm at 3rd. Then you'll go Schwarber in the cleanup spot. Probably have Casty at 5, Stott at 6. Bump JT down to 7, and then you'll have back-to-back lefties in Kepler and Brandon Marsh. On paper, they're supposed to be good. It's just they still scare the hell out of me because, as we all know, as us Phillies fans know, that offense can just disappear for games at a time. Their offense disappears in the most critical situations, They all seem to terribly slump at once. You bring in a left-handed hitter and Max Kepler. You're literally hoping for a bounce-back season for him after hitting 8 home runs. Like, this guy's barely a league average hitter. Yeah. I don't get the offensive moves. Obviously, if the Phillies should still win the NL East this year. They should. If everything goes right, they should still easily win the NL East this year. But come the playoffs, I don't know I don't know that you can trust them right now.
You can't. And I was going to say, I think the Phillies can at the very least have a top 3 lineup in the National League for the regular season. And then October rolls around and we'll see. Yeah.
But 2024 was really the NLDS against the Mets. That was brutal.
Yeah.
But they scored 12 runs in 4 games, but 7 of those runs came in game 2.
Yeah, they're not going to London this year, right?
No, they are not. No,
because I remember that's a big fall off happened after that. So at least there's that small positive.
Yeah, small positive there. In the Mets lineup, where did they come in? They came in at number 2. But are they still number 2 though? Because now Francisco Alvarez, their starting catcher, is out with a broken hamate in his hand, and he's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks now. And this is the second year in a row he's actually dealt with a significant injury. Last year he tore the ligament in his left thumb, and he was out for 7 weeks. And he really hasn't had that true breakout season because of injuries that many people have thought. And now with the Mets down Alvarez, they're turning to Luis Torrens, who, when he in 130 plate appearances last year, he slashed 229, 292, and 373. So how is this going to affect this Mets lineup the first couple months of the season?
Yeah, I'm not feeling good about it because even when Francisco comes back, look throughout baseball history, especially for power guys, that power is slow to return to normal. So, okay, let's say he misses, hypothetically, 2 months. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's add another month and a half in there where he's just not hitting for as much power as he used to. Guess how deep into the season you are?
Yeah.
Very. And, you can look at Jeff McNeil. I mean, there have been rumors that the Mets wanted to move him, which hard to blame him when in the past year, really, he had a 308 OBP. He had a sub 100 weighted run created plus. Even in 2023, he had a sub 100 weighted He had a sub 100 weighted run created plus. You do have Soto. I get that. He's going to be perennial MVP candidate. Lindor's a stud. Winker was decent. Vientos is intriguing. But the one name I'll say is I'm just not, and this ties back to free agency. I was but I've not been big on Pete Alonso the past few years.
He's declined the last 3 seasons.
Yeah,
statistically.
He's good. He's above average run producer, but he's a negative defensively, and he's still not getting on base enough. The batting average is low, so it's kind of home runs or nothing. I'm not. The second seems so high, especially with the Alvarez injury.
And what happens if Mark Vientos doesn't live up to the hype? What happens there?
Yeah, it's a very tough spot for the Mets to be in, but at least their pitching is. Wait, nope, their pitchers are getting hurt too.
Yes, they are. Frankie Montas is down, and so is Sean Manaea.
Wow, Frankie Montas hurt. Couldn't believe that. That's shocking.
Shocking, isn't it? Shocking. Now, speaking of big free agents, you've just brought up Juan Soto coming to the Mets. We are in the middle of NFL free agency. And who better to talk about NFL free agency other than our top NFL analyst for Sportsnet.com, Matt Johnson. So, Matt, how do you compare NFL free agency to MLB free agency? Because it doesn't seem like there's any superstars on the market that were like Juan Soto-esque or Corbin Burns-esque or Alex Bregman-esque.
Yeah, MLB free agency is getting to sleep in, NFL free agency is waking up at 5 a.m. every day. And again, it's for as big of a product as the NFL is, they absorb all the attention, the bandwidth, the media, TV, news, websites, everything. But their NFL free agency is really underwhelming for how much hype it gets. And that's because of things like the franchise tag. That's because of things like teams just do not let elite talent reach the open market. I mean, you just see that like Trey Smith got franchise tagged. T. Higgins got franchise tagged again. Those top guys are not going to reach the open market. Meanwhile, in baseball, it's, hey, we'll apply the qualifying offer to you, but you still get to become a free agent. And that's, I think, the big difference rule-wise between MLB and NFL is that little tag you can apply. The team gets something out of it if the player leaves, but the player still gets to be on the open market. NFL, you don't get to experience that. You don't get to experience free agency, and they can keep using it on you year after year. Obviously, the price goes up from 120%, but it's still a system where they do not really want those top young talents reaching the open market. So occasionally you'll get a Saquon Barkley, but even that isn't a superstar player. If you're a star quarterback, the only way you're reaching free agency is if you tear your Achilles or if you're old. Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to finish out your 5 years. You're going to get franchise tagged twice. And by then, you're probably just going to sign the contract extension because you're playing a very violent physical game where you just want to get that big $200 million paycheck. Whereas baseball, you have to wait through arbitration. You have to wait through all that stuff, the MLB's own rules to limit when you reach free agency. But you do eventually get there, and that's where the big bucks are, as we saw with Juan Soto this year, as we'll see with Vladito next year.
Mm-hmm.
And NFL is just never going to have that, yet it generates more attention for its free agency than MLB does.
I wish that we had a rush on MLB free agency that we did for NFL and NBA. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Are you telling me you don't like seeing some of the top MLB free agents sign in the first week of free agency and then the others sign in like February?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, let's face it can get so tedious and boring covering MLB free agency. At least like Juan Soto was a little bit fun because he kind of made it like he signed quick, or like on the quicker side compared to other big MLB free agents of the past. When we waited when the Phillies signed Bryce Harper, we waited till the end of February.
Yeah,
for that to happen. I mean, obviously it was great for us Phillies fans when he signed, but it would be incredible just to be able to have like a rush of just like signings, like one after the other. Bing bang boom at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean the MLB winter meetings. There are some, but it's just as much about trades as anything else. And
yeah,
whereas the NFL Combine, it's deals are negotiated outside of the tampering window. People are breaking rules. Can't believe it. That's why you see, all those deals signed so quickly. Maybe if MLB got its own version of that, there'd be a little bit more entertaining. Obviously, Manfred has talked about they kind of want free agents to sign sooner. Except there's the thing about that, Manfred. Your bosses have some role in that. I don't know if you're aware. But, might want to talk to them. But, so NFL free agency, as much as I love the sport, it doesn't have the big names that MLB does. And I think that's why MLB free agency, while it's more tedious, it takes longer, there's a little bit more excitement.
Yeah. Wholeheartedly agree. Now, we move on to our favorite segment of the podcast.
We promise we'll do better.
People, it's Immaculate Grid time. Let's go. Let's go. So for those who cannot see it on their screen or if they are listening, for today's Immaculate Grid, we got the Phillies Dodgers, Phillies Cubs, Phillies Cardinals, 100 RBI seasons for Dodgers, Cubs, and Cardinals, and played catcher for a minimum of one game for the Dodgers, Cubs, and Cardinals. Matt, are you ready?
I'm ready. And so
obviously I'm gonna get all the Phillies. I'm gonna get all the Phillies.
Yeah, you're gonna get all the Phillies.
Hopefully,
let's lead off with you.
Not get embarrassed. All right. Starting the stopwatch now. All right. Phillies, Dodgers. I am going Kevin. If it pipes for me, Kevin Gross. Where are you at? There we go. Cubs, Phillies, Bob Dernier. 2%. What the hell? And Phillies. Yes. Boom.
Right. Let's go. Right. I'll start with the catcher.
Okay, which one?
For the catcher, let's start with the Cubs.
Yeah.
Little Jonathan Lucroy.
Oh. Nice one.
All right. For the Cardinals, he's actually been traded a few times. But we're going to go with the Cardinals. Carson Kelly.
Carson Kelly. Nice.
All right. And for the Dodgers, I think you'll appreciate this name. Pretty sure. Carlos Ruiz.
Oh, Chooch. Chooch. All right. We're doing pretty good so far. All right. Now we need to do 100 RBI season for the Dodgers. Steve Garvey? Or is that to
Jeff Kent?
Oh, Jeff Kent.
My Giants.
Oh, 0.6%. There we go. Derek Lee for the Cubs. Yeah. Oh. That's the wrong Derek. Yeah.
That would have been embarrassing.
Oh, it's 6%. Okay. We're doing good so far. All right. St. Louis Cardinals, 100 RBI season.
My pick is Matt Holliday, but if we can go someone more off the board, we can try.
Does Scotty Rowland have a 100 RBI season? I think he did.
I'm not 100% confident. Do we want to risk it as a question?
Yes! Look at that! 15 rarity score, people! 15! We crushed this!
We put in the work. We promised we would get better.
In 222. Look at
Ladies
that!
And gentlemen, we went from scoring in the 140s, followed by the 180s, and now we get a 15. This is
15.
We said spring training. We're working through it. We're getting back into regular season mode. We are back.
Look at that. I mean, look at the half percentage for Kevin Gross and Jonathan Lucroy. I love the Carlos Ruiz one. That was fantastic. Let's see. Derek Lee had 6%. That was the biggest one. Not bad. Not bad.
We can feel good about this.
I am pretty proud right now. I'm not going to lie. This might be a top 5 day of my life right now, MJ. I'm glad to have shared it with you.
I'm glad too. I'm going to remember this on my deathbed.
Wow. It's already getting morbid. Let's end it on that note, people. Everybody, thanks again for watching the Deferrals. I'm Matt Higgins. Say goodbye, MJ.
Yeah, and hey, make sure, subscribe on whatever platform you've got. Comment. We will comment back because we'd like to interact with fellow baseball fans. Just however you enjoy us, be sure to share it, and we will appreciate it. Thank you very much. And again, we promised we'd improve the Immaculate Grid. We delivered a 15. So because of that, just throw us a like and a subscribe. Thank you.